Hi, this is Dina with Pretty Productive. Welcome back to my channel. Today what I'm going to be doing is my March budget setup and taking you through the steps that I do towards the end of the month. I try to always do this before we get paid. So I get paid on the 27th for my pension check. My husband gets paid on the last day of the month. So I never like to do this after the first check comes in, even though there's no surprises. We know how much the checks are going to be. There's no fear that the check is not going to be there. I just like to go ahead and make sure that, you know, we are set for the new month prior to actually receiving the check. So this is my budget spreadsheet. I kind of just created it because this is the way my mind thinks. I've seen a lot of different ones online. I have been working to get this set up as a digital download. In the meantime, if you purchase from my shop Pretty Productive, you can always request this in the notes to seller and I will send you some copies of it free of charge. So this is for March 2024. So I just take our two pension checks and split them in half. So it's $39.18, $39.18. My one daughter pays me $40 for her phone bill. She's still on our phone plan. So our total income is $78.76. Now I do not add in any incremental income. I already know I'm going to be working a couple days in the month of March because those can change. You can get sick or they can be canceled, you know, whatever might happen. So what I do with my incremental income is I usually either put it into savings or I add it to a sinking fund, or if there's something I really want, I might spend it too. Now I have been putting $500 a month into my savings. I am not going to be able to do that for the month of March because it's going to need to go into our medical savings account. So I'm going to come back to sinking funds. So landscaping, because this is a 4-week month, will be $140. Our phone is $135. I think I had $139 last month, but it's actually $135. Electricity, I'm going to say $200. Our electricity bill has been higher, like $30 to $40 higher than it was last year. And then we just got a notification that they got approved for a 50% rate hike. So I'm just going to keep it $200. And then during the summer, I'm going to have to bring it up again as well. Water and trash bills been running about $90. So I'm going to put $100 just in case. Southwest gas was very high in January, but it's been much warmer right now in Phoenix. So I'm going to kind of bring it back down to 80. It was 112 for the month of February. Internet is 120. DirecTV is 120. Netflix is 16. HBO Plus is 11. Hulu is 20. Life insurance for my husband and I is 106. Gym is 70, car wash is 25, and medical insurance $15.75. So if you're new to my channel, my husband and I are both what we call semi-retired. So my husband still works a part-time job that he is a contractor for, and that money just goes separately. It goes into savings. It's part of, you know, funds like reno or vacation, things like that. We both retired with pensions as well as IRAs and things like that. So we're pretty confident at right this stage in our life that we will be fine financially. So we live off of his pension is set, my pension is not. So I keep lowering my pension that I pull. When we paid off our mortgage in June, I split what I take out in half, so that I'm only taking out the amount that we need to cover our bills, and a little bit of sinking funds. There's just not a lot of wiggle room in my budget anymore, which I kind of miss. But that should be my motivation to work a few more days, to kind of have that extra money to kind of play with. So our fixed expenses, so these are the ones that are pretty much the same every single month. It doesn't matter the time of the year or anything else. then I take that back. So electricity, gas, those do fluctuate based on the weather. 106, 70, 25, 15, 75. So unfortunately, because we are both semi-retired and have not Medicare age, our medical insurance is our biggest expense. Now, we do go through a company called Thin Blue Line. My husband is retired law enforcement, and there's always a gap between when somebody retires as a first responder to when they're eligible for Medicare. So he did go back to work for like the first 3 years. So we were covered under his employer's plan. Then we COVID for a little bit, and that became super expensive. So we finally went to Thin Blue Line. It's actually been really good insurance, and about half of what we paid when we were covering. So pretty happy with that plan so far. And that can be for either if you or your spouse is a first responder, or your dad. Like if anybody in your family was, you can also grandfather into that. Our home insurance, I put $130 a month away. Our auto insurance, I put $270. Property tax, because when we paid off our house, we do pay that directly. I just paid almost $2,200 in the month of end of February for our first half, and then it will be due again in October. I don't know what it's going to be, because this will be for 24-25 year. So I put $400 a month away, and that should be enough to have that money there in October. HOA, I did need to increase this. I was putting $80, but it went up to $280 every quarter, so it's $95 every month I put away for that. And pest control, I put $35. Now we will have service in the month of March, so instead of putting the $95 that will be due, I'll pull the money out of the $70 that I already have in the envelope plus the $35 that I'm adding to it. So $130 plus $270 plus $400 plus $95 plus $35 is $938. And I add that to $27.18. So a total of $3,648. So even though we don't have a mortgage, we don't have car payments, anything like that, we have literally no debt, our outgoing just for our bills, now granted, we don't need to have every single, streaming service and things like that, but that's just really our annual bills, our monthly bills comes to $36.48. So I think I thought when our mortgage went away, we'd have all this money, but we really, it just moves to different categories, I guess. So $36.48. And then lifestyle, which I do feel like we have a little bit of wiggle room in to bring them down if I need to. So in my last video, which was my week 3 check-in, we really overestimated groceries, but I have not cooked. I've cooked very little this month. So I do need to get back to meal prep. We're not eating well. So I think in next month for March, I am going to leave it at $600 and then really work to eat home more often and maybe go out 1 day a week versus as many times as we've been going out. $200 for eating out, $200 for spending. So my spending is my only category I don't track. Just kind of to have that, some budgeters call it their allowance or their fund money. I just call it my spending money. My mom is in a memory care facility. I put $50 in an envelope for her, and that's really just to bring her little treats, things like that. Entertainment, $100. Miscellaneous, $50. Personal care I'm not funding because I have my original $200 that I put in February. I got sick, so I canceled my massage appointment and I haven't used any of it. Household, same thing. I put $100 in an envelope. I have not used it. Gas, I'm going to put $300. I only used... I had $300. I only used $100 in gas last month. Now I know gas has come down and I'm not really driving a lot. I go back and forth to my daughter's house and that's about it. But I'm going to leave it at $300 just in case. Medicine, again, I have not spent what I put away, so there's $100 in that envelope. I don't think I have medicine due to come in this month for March. I think I spent it in January. It's 90 days. I probably will have medicine coming out in April, but we'll see. Giving, I tithe off the top. Simple Paper is a subscription, so that's $35. Beta Chronicle, I'm up at $41. I may cancel this one. I'm just not using it as much as I thought I would. Elements, $80, which is massage. Audible, $16. Paper Minty Studio, I've been putting $35 away. She is going to have a sale or launch in March, but I'm really not using, I kind of hoard her things. I think it's because she does a release and then you can't get them again, but I haven't touched them. So it's ridiculous. I should not be hoarding stickers. Coffee Monster Co., even though I have a subscription and that's already paid, I put $75 here because she is having her anniversary sale in the month of March. So I'm sure I will be buying things for that. And that is one shop that I do use every single thing that I purchase from her. $600 plus $200, $250, $150, $300, $35 plus $41 plus $80 plus $16 plus $35 plus $75. $17.82. Let me just look at my cheat sheet. Yep. $17.82. So that comes over to Lifestyle, $17.82. Fortunately, not putting anything into savings. So if I take my income of $78.76, I subtract my fixed expenses, $36.48, and I subtract my Lifestyle of $17.82. That gives me $2,446 for sinking funds. So there are sinking funds that I use every single month. I put money away. And those are ones that I know I'm going to spend the money. I might as well go ahead and plan for it so that I don't feel guilty. And Christmas is one of those. Birthdays are another one that I know I'm going to spend the money. I might as well chip away at it every single month versus try to come up with it. So before I can calculate my sinking funds, I go through a project. I go through every one of my envelopes and my online accounts, and I put down where I ending February. So for example, under the cars, they had $520 in there when I started the month of February. And then I spent almost $300 on a birthday gift for my granddaughter, a nugget couch. And then it was my son-in-law's birthday, so I gave him $200 cash because he's working on a second tattoo, or a third, fourth, I'm not sure. So there's $29 in there. So my next time that I need money out of this envelope will be for my daughter's birthday in October. So I'm still putting in the $100, but I had, you know, when I look at that and I see from 500 to 29, from a balance of over 500 to a balance of 29, that's painful, but I'm glad the money was there so I could use it. So that's kind of how I look at my sinking funds. None of these are what I would consider savings accounts. They're just holding the money till I spend it because I am going to spend it. So this is where my balance was. This is where I wrote in what I think I need to fund for the month of March. So in my holidays, I'm putting 40 in Easter, 50 in my birthday, 50 in my daughter and future son-in-law. My husband gets 50. The cars that we just talked about get 100. I'm putting 26 into Liam and Milo, which is my daughter's dogs, and 50 into date night. So that amount right there comes over here into what I call my envelope. So if I take 40 plus 50 plus 50 plus 50 plus 100 plus 26 plus 50. That's 366. So I kind of back into that number once I figure out everything else that I want to do over here. So car maintenance and tags, I'm putting $70 because my car tags are due in September. Christmas gets $300 a month. My general fund, I am not funding. Gifts, I'm not funding. Home improvement, I'm not. Medical, I am trying to put $900 in. Sutton's $529 is my granddaughter. We pull out $100 a month for her. Technology is not getting funded. $200 for vacation, because I am taking a vacation in April. And my daughter is getting married in October, and so I'm putting $500 there. Now I am paying for her shower, which is going to be in April, so I'm just building that cushion into the account. So the money for the wedding is already there based on the budget. And we're trying really hard not to go over that budget. But I did put a cushion in there so that I could pull money for the shower too. So $500 for March, $500 in April, and then I shouldn't have to be funding wedding anymore. It should be completely done, but we shall see. So if I did this right, we had 2,446 minus 70 minus 300 minus 366 minus 900 minus 100 minus 200 minus 500. Okay, $10 left. Okay, so I will give $10 into date night. So I'll put $60 into date night. So 376 now. Can't really believe I'm gonna try to use my calculator to add $10, but okay. So 70 plus 300 plus 376 plus 900 plus 100 plus 200 plus 500. 2446. Okay. So if I add 2446 plus 1782 lifestyle plus 3648 equals 7876. And then my total income was 7876. So every dollar budget. So once I figure all of this out, then I need to go through and figure out what is going to be a cash envelope versus what stays in my account. Now, I know that this is not Dave Ramsey approved, but I'll tell you how I personally do my bills. Anything that is an online savings account, which is Christmas, general fund, gifts, home improvement, medical, technology, vacation, and wedding. So everything but vacation is in a high yield savings account. So I will tell you, I got my year-end statement for my Capital One savings accounts, and it is probably the thing I get the most questions about when people say, why do you use Capital One? You know, is it easy? It's not. It is so easy. First of all, I use a Capital One credit card I pay off every month. So I put my savings accounts for the things I know I'm going to use, like Christmas. I'm going to use things for home improvement. You know, we've been working on that, medical, things like that. I'm going to use my credit card for those things. And then I just transfer the money from that savings account onto my card to pay off my card. For my bills, there are some bills that come out of my checking account, and I leave the money there. I know I'm going to do that. Other ones that I bill to my credit card, I have been starting to take those out in cash and then put the money back. And I know it's an extra step, but it's helping me to slow the amount of spending I'm doing on my credit card, because I don't have all this money in my checking account, you know, knowing that I probably have a little bit of extra from the bills because I write it out of my checkbook when I think I'm going to pay it. But it's just the discipline of taking the money and putting it back in has really helped me to not overspend on my credit card, because I'm looking at every single transaction and where is that money coming from. So it's just teaching myself that discipline that I should already have at this age, but I, was getting very comfortable swiping my card and then figuring out where the money was going to come later. So landscaping, I take out in cash. My phone is a direct bill to my checking account. Electricity is a direct bill. My water trash goes on my credit card. This one, Southwest Gas, comes out of my checking account. My internet goes on my card. DirecTV, Netflix, HBO. Oh no, wait. Netflix for some reason comes out of my checking account. Hulu is credit card. Life insurance is out of my checking account. Gym is credit card. Car wash is credit card. And this comes right out of my checking account. So the ones that I did not put a dot next to, they just get left into my card in my checking account, and they're going to get pulled out from there. My homeowner's insurance, my auto insurance, my property tax go into a savings account called annual bills into Capital One, but I don't pay them through my card because there was such a hefty fee. So I transfer the money back into my checking account when I am getting ready to pay that bill. So for example, property tax was due in February. I took the $2,200, transferred it back into my checking account. It takes maybe 2 days, if that. And then I just wrote a check and mailed in the check because it was over $100 that they wanted to charge me just for the convenience of using my credit card. So I'm like, I'm not gonna spend $100 to make a few points. And then my HOA comes out of my checking account. It's an auto draft. And then my pest control does come out of off my credit card. And then I do use my credit card for almost everything over here. These all come out on my credit card. So I really just take a moment to say, okay, what exactly do I need to pull out in cash, and what do I just leave into my card, my checking account, so I'm not pulling out money that needs to be left in there. These are all envelopes over here. So once I go through all of that process, and I actually love this process, so it may seem very confusing, it may seem like it's a lot of steps. I actually like to sit down with every one of my envelopes, go through them, see where they really are at the end of the month, what is a priority, what's not a priority, and then determine, you know, what I need to pull cash for and what I do not. So this is everything that I need to pull cash for, which is $2,949. And then I started with what I'm putting as my fund for that, and then I'll break it down into how I want to pull that out from the bank. So for example, for groceries, I figure it's about $125 a week is what I should be spending on a 4-week month. So I will take out 2, 3, 4 20s and 4 5s, and then the rest will be in 50s. So if I take out 80, 90, 100, so 100 of that, so I need to take out 500, so it would be 10. And that's only so when I'm paying my credit card back, I'm not having $100 bills and things I need to break up. Eating out, I do so that's 140, 160, and then 4 10s. So that's 200. So that's kind of how I do. I just go through and I try to get the biggest denomination that I can so that my envelopes don't get really full, but break them up enough that if I need to make change, I'm only having to put back like a 5 or a 10, not like a 50 or something like that. So I will go through and calculate all of this. It needs to balance this. So all of my hatch marks need to balance to $2,949. Then what I do is take back any money that I have that is currently in my house that needed to go back to the bank, and I write those amounts in here, and then I subtract that, and this grand total is what I actually pull from the bank. So I'm not putting it back and taking it out as much as it would look like, because a lot of times when I pull it out, I already have that buffer in my account to pay my card. It gets a little tight towards the end, but then as soon as I get paid, that puts that money back in. So there are different envelopes that I absolutely have to pull because they're sinking funds. So I'm not reusing that money. But like my bill money, I can easily reuse that money. So the 120 I took out for streaming is just going to kind of be that 120, and then I'm not putting it back and taking it out as much. So I figure by the time I kind of get everything settled, it's usually right around, you know, $1,800 that I'm actually taking out of our checks, in addition to the money that I moved onto the card. So it clears itself out. It sounds really confusing, but it's a system that has been pretty effective for us. So that's why we keep doing it this way. So that is my March budget. Now I have been going through, I've been getting a lot of statements. I had surgery the end of November, and I'm just now going into March starting to see some of those bills. So I have been going through the benefit statements that our insurance company has been sending us on what my responsibility would be. Now I've only received one bill, so I'm sure they're coming, but I don't know if that number is going to change, but that's the number I'm going to plan for. We had not used our insurance very much. It was really pretty much had to do almost 100% of our deductible. So I am not really sure. So my goal right now is just to keep as much money, just keep putting money into our medical. And then if I have to pull out of savings, I will, to pay those bills. The other thing is I'm having some dental work done on March 7th. My insurance did not cover it. I found that out in December when I had to pay $2,200. And then they're not really sure on the March amount because they have to run it through the insurance and see if they will cover any of this part of it. So I'm planning on another $2,200, which does not make me happy, but you got to do what you got to do. And so that's where my, I should have, when I had more income or when I was working a lot, I should have had my eyes on the medical because I knew I was going to have the dental work done. I did not, of course, plan to have surgery. So that was a little bit of a, you know, an unbudgeted expense, but you know, I know going forward, I should have at least my deductible in a account. So it's convenient and easy if that should happen again. So that is where I stand in March. If you have any questions at all, please let me know. I love your comments. I love, you know, when you guys kind of go back and forth and tell me a little bit about your lives. I appreciate that. If you have not done so already, please subscribe. I am really trying to grow my channel. So I appreciate all that you do in watching my videos and, you know, your comments. You can like or dislike the video. Either way, it helps with my engagement and pushes my video up. So thank you so much. Take care, and I hope you are prepared for March as well. Take care.